Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining once again. My name is Abiola Sunday Awokiyesi. This is Soft Skills Masterclass for students. This is about Einstein, the creator of the theory of relativity, and he is also a theoretical physicist. His death was announced in the year 1955, and his unfinished work, which is the theory of everything. But the death of this man gave birth to another intellectual that we are actually studying this evening, who is Michio Kaku. Michio Kaku was just 8 when he was privileged to appear before the TV that announced the death of Albert Einstein and his unfinished work. So he did further research, that's Michio Kaku, and found that the theory of everything is the theory that will allow humans to read the mind of God. And he said, oh, that is what I want to work on for the rest of my life. So was he able to actually work on it? Was he able to develop the theory of everything to actually make it, beneficial to humanity? And that is one of the reasons why we are studying this evening, the theory of everything. And Michio Kaku developed it. The topic before us today is self-discipline. Before the end of today's course, we trust and hope that students would understand what is self-discipline, would understand the prerequisites of self-discipline, would know why they need to develop self-discipline, would also know how to develop their self-discipline, and lastly, imbibe the habit of self-discipline. What is just self-discipline? Self-discipline is you, a boy, a girl, an adult, a young person, as far as you can differentiate right from wrong, setting rules to guide your behavior and applying them to attain a higher goal. Setting rules. The reason why there is need to set rules to guide our behavior is because, like the popular Yoruba saying, that where there is no law, there is no sin. Behavior can go wrong. Our behavior sometimes can allow us to waste time when rules to guide them are not put in place. And that is why one of the most respected uniform persons are the military people, because they are always guided. They are always, put in an orderly manner as regarding their behavior because of the rules guiding them. So applying them, very important. It is not just enough to set rules, but much more importantly, the rules that are laid down to guide our behavior must be applied. And the purpose of applying these rules that have been set is to attain higher goal. So it is important that if you as a student have dream, if you have a student has vision, goals, plans, and so on, there's need for you to set rules. There's need for you to guide your behavior as you put, your behavior in order through self-discipline. Another definition of self-discipline that I'll be looking at is self-discipline is exercising control over oneself. It is you exercising control over yourself. This is important because it confirms that we are self-aware. It confirms that we have our behavior under check. It confirms that we know what we are doing when we set rules over ourselves. So that is self-discipline. That is self-discipline. Another point, discipline, is we need to understand, even before we talk about self-discipline, there is need to find out the prerequisite, what is that which must have been fulfilled before we can really talk about self-discipline, which is willpower. You might want to ask, what is willpower? Willpower is your choice to take an action. So it is you, your conscious self, with your consciousness, with your self-awareness. You are willing to take an action, you are willing to take a step, and you are also willing to take not just choice, but an action. You are willing to take a step to pursue the choice that is being made. Willpower is the act of making a decision and to start acting on it. There are many students that you found that they do not have the ability. It is not that they do not have the ability, but they have not developed the self-awareness to take decision, to take an action. So determine that today I want to study Ben Carson's Think Big book, or take decision that today I want to put this house in order. So the willpower is the willingness as a person to take an action, the willingness to pursue a plan, the willingness to take a course. So without willpower, there is no self-discipline. If a student is always being, moved here and there, if a student's actions or behavior is always being controlled by mom, by dad, by the popular musician, by an artist and the likes, such students have not developed willpower. So willpower is not an influence that is coming from the media, from Facebook or the like. It is you as a student saying, this semester, I want to have an A. This semester, I want to have 5, 6, 7 A's. This semester, I want to get through a number of books. So that is willpower, which is a prerequisite to self-discipline. The young man before us again, Michio Kaku, made a decision when he was just 8 and took an action, which is willpower. What action did he actually take? He went to the library to read about the unfinished work of about Einstein, which was, he found out that it was the theory of everything, and he worked on it. So gradually, because of the decision he took, he grew to become Professor Michio Kaku. So he's a theoretical physicist, a co-creator of string field theory. So it was his understanding, it was his research into the theory of everything, the finished work of Albert Einstein, that made him develop as he cooperates or collaborates with others to come up with the theory of the string field theory. So he's a professor in the same field as about Einstein. And that is why George Washington said, discipline is the soul of an army. It makes small number formidable, procures success to the weak, and hasten to all. Discipline is one of the ingredients of success. Discipline is one of the ingredients that any man, any woman, a young person, a student would need, to progress in life. Without discipline, there is no progress. And that is why we are learning self-discipline this evening. Why do we need to learn self-discipline? Number one, because the number of the successful, the number of the great, the number of the richest, the number of the most happiest is more and will always be more than the number of the successful, the richest, and others. So the reason for this is because of self-discipline. We'll be learning about an example at the later part of this study to understand that self-discipline is very, very crucial in life. As a young student, you have to develop self-discipline. If you want to become a successful student in your career, if you want to become a good manager, a good CEO, if you want to reach the peak of your career in life, you must discipline yourself. Number two is because if you have found that you are easily distracted, you lack self-control, or you make terrible decisions, or you have issue in ensuring that you stay peaceful or happy for a long time, there is need for discipline. So discipline is not just needed because you want ease. It is also needed because peace is needed. You discipline your thoughts. You discipline your thinking, your reasoning, your behavior. So discipline cuts across every aspect of area of life. Why do we need to discipline ourselves? Number three is because there are two kinds of minds that is ruling the world. Number one is the monkey mind. Just like a monkey, when you found a monkey on a tree, monkey is always restless, always pleasure seeking, always enjoying the moments. They are not futuristic. And this is an attribute of a monkey. And that's why we call it monkey mind. There are many people who are in this category of people who are being ruled or dominated by the monkey mind. Don't forget, the monkey mind is pleasure seeking, is always living for the moment, is always, enjoying the moment, always seeking self-gratification. But the mastery mind, the other one, is the mind that is self-aware, the mind that is calm, the mind that is rational, the mind that is disciplined. And the gap of those living in the mastery mind is very, very shrink, very small, very minute. And that is why the number of the successful is always minimal compared to the number of the unsuccessful. Why do we need to develop self-discipline? A study carried out by William Hoffman in the year 2030 shows that those who have high self-control, those who have the ability to discipline themselves, to discipline their body, to say, today, I am not going to eat for so number of hours. That can say that today, because I need to read in the night, that I can say, yes, I need to, take just bread, 2 slices of bread, and see, so that my body will be light. And if I want to wake up in the night, I will be able to wake up. Those who can say, I will not sleep or take unnecessary nap in the afternoon. So these are those that, William Hoffman found that they are able to deal with their goals better, they deal with conflict better. They spend less time in behaviors that does not really count. And this often increase their peace and happiness. This is because when you are disciplined, you will find that your level of peace will be increased. Why? Because you accomplish more, you become more. Your goal that you pursue is, most cases, you have good record in your goal pursuance ability. And that is one of the reasons why you need to develop self-discipline. So how do you develop self-discipline? Number one is that as a student, you need to identify a need. Why do you want to develop self-discipline? That is the need. So if you are talking about the need to identify a need, we are talking about the fact that you need to identify why you want to develop self-discipline. Do you have a plan? How many A's do you want? Or as a student, are you thinking of pursuing a vision, a goal? So as a student, if you don't have a plan, why not get yourself a plan? If you want to lose weight, that is a plan, that is a need. Now, self-discipline is needed. So as a student, all these are examples of the reason why self-discipline is needed. As a student, this is very important. So number one is that you have to identify a need. Number two is the willingness to work on your identified goal, your strong will. So your will must be strong. So as a student, you must have the willingness, the courage, you must have the passion, which is like your why that we talked about yesterday. Yesterday, we talked about one of the important, element of planning, which is the why, the purpose. So your willingness is your purpose, is the driving force that will always keep you, firing to keep disciplining yourself to pursue your vision or your goal. So another point here is to set rules to guide your behavior. Don't forget that where there is no rule, there is no sin. Where there is no rule, abuse is inexcusable, is inevitable. Where behavior is not guided by rules, people are bound to act irrationally. They are bound to act inhumane. They are bound to act to hurt others and even themselves. And that is why we have laws in the society to guide our behavior. So if you only rely on the laws put in place by mommy, by dad, by teachers, and as a student, you don't have laws. Personally, one of the laws I developed for myself is that there is no eating unless I have read a number of books, number of pages, that day, in the morning and in the night. That's one of the rules I set for myself. So these are put in place to put my mind in an orderly manner, to ensure that my mind is guided, is protected from the negative thoughts, from the negative communications and contributions from the society. So as a student, you need to set rules and boundaries around your life. Another point is to be a disciple. Every disciple must have a master. This can be the need for you to identify a mentor. If your dream is to become a lawyer, you should look at someone who is already successful in that field and pattern your life after the life of that person. See what the person does. How does the person live his or her life? Does he read book in the morning? How many books does he read in a month? What are the kind of channels? What does he watch? Does he read newspaper and the like? These are important points that as a student, you should note about your master. Don't forget, when you're a disciple, there must be a master. And your master is your mentor. It can be your parents, it can be an uncle, it can be someone very successful that you have identified in one capacity or the other. So you must have a master. Another point here is to be consistent. To be consistent to attain the 1,000-hour rule. What is 1,000-hour rule? It was developed by the researcher Malcolm Gladwell, who wrote The Outliers, The Story of Success. This man he did the research and he found that those who are experts in a field, experts in playing table tennis, experts in wrestling, experts in mathematics, experts in engineering, and so on. They are experts because they have practiced for at least 10,000 hours in their lifetime. 10,000 hours. So this is the rule that this researcher set as the boundary, set as the benchmark, set as a guide for every person, a student, a young person, an adult who wants to become an expert in a field or the other. So that is a 10,000 rule. So be consistent at applying the rules that you set for yourself. Personally, one of the rules I also developed is that I set plan for each day, often, to ensure that my habits, my decisions, are put under check. So 10,000 rule, let that be your guide to ensure that there is daily practicing, daily developing of your skill. Another point is to practice voluntary hardship. I learned about C. Ronaldo that before practice of the general club member, he would have gone to the field to practice and practice. Even after finishing practice, the general group, it will still stay behind and practice more. So voluntary hardship can be like to ignore the Facebook, ignore social media, keep your phone aside. That can be a source of distraction. So distraction abounds all around us. So you must discipline yourself in a way that distractions are avoided through practice of voluntary hardship. Distraction can be good things like food, too much eating. Distraction can be too much eating. Distraction can be a loved person, a loved one, who you will need to explain in an empathetic manner that I need to pursue this goal. Can you please excuse me? I visited a friend of mine a couple of years ago when I was in school. And this friend of mine, when I visited him, it was giving me attitude in a way that he needed to be alone. And I understood. He didn't say it, but I understood that was what he meant in a bid to, obey the rules that he has set around himself. So the last point here is to reward yourself and measure your progress. So every goal, every plan that you put in place, always ensure that when you hit the first goal, reward yourself. Second goal, reward yourself. Celebrate. And if, as a young student, you can talk to mommy or daddy and make it an agreement between yourself and them that if I really think big, what will you buy for me? These are a kind of motivation for yourself to reward yourself, to ensure that you can, keep firing on. And gradually, it will become part and parcel of you. Even when you are not rewarded, you enjoy it. Just like Ben Carson said, he read to understand and he said, I understand human brain. As we conclude tonight, the act of discipline attracts multiple reward. See, Ronaldo today is being watched by many who paid thousands of dollars to watch him at the stadium. And he's being paid through multiple rewards, not just from his club. He's being paid also by the company that's bringing him on board as their brand ambassador. So the act of discipline attracts multiple reward. This is very important. It's just like the law of sowing and reaping. What you sow, you reap in multiple times. So when you sow mango seed, you don't just get one mangoes, you get multiple mangoes. Now, the point here is that when you discipline yourself, reward will be in multiple return. Another point here is that the extent of your self-love is determined by the extent of your self-discipline. It was Will Smith who said that he defined self-discipline as self-love. So if we love ourselves, we must discipline ourselves. The point here is that you love yourself to the extent that you would tell yourself sometimes that because of my love for myself, and I want to have a first class, and I want to have 9 A's in my WAEC examination, I wouldn't eat excessively. I wouldn't eat, ever tonight, so that I'll be able to wake up early to read in the night. That is self-love. So you discipline because of your love for yourself to become great, to pursue a higher goal. So discipline is self-love. So the extent to which you discipline yourself is the extent to which you love yourself. If you don't discipline your appetite, that you keep taking, content that would harm you, if you don't discipline yourself, that you sit around negative, communicators, you sit around those who communicate negative energy, who are saying that the world is bad, the country is evil, this and that and everything. All these are seeds that are being sown. So when you love yourself, you learn to avoid such gathering, and you find positive energy that can contribute positively to your mental health. That is one of the reasons why we define self-discipline as self-love. Lastly, tonight, the man before us, Aliko Dangote, the richest man in Africa, was reported to have been found while others were sleeping in the aeroplane that he boarded. He was busy writing, documenting, and keeping his thoughts in order. The person who saw him was wowed and assumed that this man is the richest. I think he ought to be relaxing, sleeping, and enjoying himself. Why should he be this busy and documenting things? So discipline is an attribute of the successful. It is an attribute of those who are making marks in the world. So as a student, as a young person, or as an elderly person, you need to cultivate these habits of discipline. Thank you for joining. So the discussion we want to have tonight is, how would you arrange the following in ascending order? We have discipline, we have plan, we have goal, and we have willpower. Who would like to comment this? Anybody? Who is giving a try?
Let me give a try of this.
Oh, okay.
My name is, sorry, I'm on the highway, so I just want to make a try.
Okay, sir.
My name is Solomon.
You're welcome,
so, in ascending order, right?
Yes, sir.
I want to say, you make a plan, and you set a goal, and then you draw your plan, be disciplined, then power will come in. That's my order.
Okay, thank you very much.
Goal, I think plan, discipline, willpower.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. I think is it Mr. James or Mr. Adijari would like to speak? Mr. James or Mr. Adijari? Okay, Mr. Adijari, you have the floor.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. Welcome.
Thank you. If you want to be disciplined, you have to give yourself. You have to plan ahead. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
Okay.
Something like that. You have to.
What's your name, please? What's your name, please?
Mukhtar.
Okay. Thank you very much. Now, the question before is that how would you arrange the words before us? We have discipline, we have plan, we have goal, and we have willpower. How would you arrange in ascending order? Ascending order simply means that what do you think should come first? Then the second, then the thoughts in an order, not from forward to the back, not backward. Do you understand?
Okay, I do.
So how would you arrange what we have before us?
So before you are disciplined, you need to have willpower. Then you plan.
Okay.
Then you need to be disciplined in order to get a goal. So it will be willpower, a plan, discipline, and then a goal.
Okay. Thank you very much. I think Mr. James would like to say something.
Okay. Hello. Good evening.
Good evening, sir. You're welcome.
I believe before anything, we should first have a goal, and then we should have willpower to decide that we are going to go after that goal, and then we should plan, and then we should be disciplined to follow through our plans. That's what I think.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, everybody, for your contribution. But what I think is that, number one, there must be willpower. Don't forget that willpower is like self-awareness. Self-awareness is your understanding about yourself, your need. You are not being driven by mom, dad, by the social media, by the media. So you have an understanding about yourself, what you will, what you want. You have an understanding that you want to become a lawyer, a doctor, or whatever. You have an understanding that you want to start a business. So that is will. You have a will. I hope you understand. So there are some students who do not have this will. There is no self-awareness. So you can see willpower as self-awareness. So if we don't have self-awareness, there is no goal, there is no plan, there is no discipline. So the first thing, what I think, is willpower. So you have this will that is strong and powerful. Then you can talk about a goal. You can talk about, okay, this time I want to have 6 A's. This time I need 7 A's to get a first class. So when you have the goal, then we can talk about the plan. When you have the plan, the sustainer of the willpower, the goal is, and the plan is discipline. So they all thrive, and you can soar on the wings of discipline. Am I right? Can anybody please give, if you have any objection to that, can you please say something?
I think I agree with you.
Okay, sir.
The willpower should be first.
Okay.
And then it is in the order at which you have put it: willpower, goal, plan, discipline.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. I really appreciate your presence this evening. And I want to say I am very, very happy to have you this evening. Can you please, all that are present this evening, just say hi to me on the group chat so that I can save your contacts and we save contact? Please, it is very important. So I don't know if you have any question before we close for today. Any question or suggestion? Anything? Okay, thank you very much. We'd like to call it a day, and the recording will be made available at Mindklass, so you can always, share with friends, family, and then if you are a teacher, you can always share it in your group chat. So thank you very much, and have a splendid day ahead and a nice weekend. Thank you very much.
Thanks, sir.